Welcome to episode 3 of the Wrassingh Show, the only podcast that brings to you stories from wrestling talent all across the globe. Today's guest is a shining star from Germany, trained by the very best such as Alex Wright and Fabian Eichner. She is the current GWP Women's Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you the ever so graceful Xara Grace. Xara, welcome to the show. We are so honored to have you on here with us. So, first question to you, Xara. Xara Grace. This is a wonderful name. And I feel like it suits you very much because when I look at you, the first word that comes to my mind is graceful. So can you tell us something like how did you come up with this ring name, Xara Grace?
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here. Xara Grace came in my mind because I was searching for something unique, and I don't think the name Xara is very common. And with Grace, as you said, I mean, I love everything that glitters. I love everything that is like glamoring stuff. So that's what Xara Grace is about.
That is very cool. So you made your wrestling debut in 2017, correct? Like about 3 years ago.
Actually, it was 2018. In 2017, I worked some matches. That's true, right. But it was like kind of start matches and pre-show matches. Right. But my official debut as Xara Grace I made in 2018, late 2018. So almost 2 years ago.
So almost 2 years, and you've been in the industry for about 3 years, and since your debut it's been 2 years, and here you are today as the World GWP champion. So can you tell us something about how has your experience been in the professional wrestling industry so far?
Of course. I started training at the training school of Alex Wright. You may know him.
Right.
That's where I started to train. I was trained by Alex Wright and also Fabian Eichner, who is now a part of WWE. Right. He was one of my first trainers. So then I was training for some years. Unfortunately, I had, before my official debut, I had injury. Okay. I injured my leg, so that's why I had to pause for some months. But after that, I started training again, and luckily I was able to make my official debut in October 2018 at a GWP show. And also, after my debut, I travel a lot to wrestle in as many places as I can, to train in many places as I can. And about 1 year after my debut, I had the honor to become the GWP Women's Champion.
So it's been a great journey so far. So what is the one thing that you love about the wrestling industry, with your experience so far in it?
I love to entertain the crowd. No matter if you work as a heel or as a face, there is nothing better than seeing the crowd react to you.
Very cool. So, Xara, you're from Deutschland, and when people think of Germany in sports, the first sport that comes to their mind is football, soccer, and then it's golf, it's ice hockey, but very few people are aware of the independent wrestling circuit that operates in Germany. So can you tell us something about the wrestling business in the country?
Yeah, of course. Actually, we have quite a lot of promotions in Germany. I think if you count everything together, it's over 20 or even more promotions all over Germany. The biggest promotion in Germany, of course, is WXW. They also cooperate with WWE. I think they're known all over the world, but I think there are like 5 or 6 more bigger companies. So we have like all over Germany, we have companies who are regularly doing wrestling shows.
Okay, that's very cool. Well, lots of people are not aware of this. So over 20 wrestling companies in Germany. That means a lot of people would be interested, in wrestling. Is that true?
Yeah. Depends on the shows are not that big, but it's there is a crowd, so it's not like you're wrestling in front of an empty arena or
Right.
something. There is always a crowd, and the German wrestling fans, they are really stick to their promotions. So they visit every show and things like that. So yes, there is a wrestling crowd. Wrestling is not really big in Germany. It got bigger over the last few years,
I see.
also in the media, but it's not like it's mainstream thing in Germany. But there is a wrestling scene, and it's not tiny.
It's not tiny at all. But if you look at, the wrestlers from Germany who have made it to the USA and, who have made it big, there have not been a lot of big names from Germany. There have been a few, but not a lot of them, and especially when you talk about women. So what is the perception of the general public, in Germany about wrestling? So like in the USA, it's either, oh, it's a fake sport, wrestling is fake, or it's like people love it. So, what is the general perception of it? Do people like it, or do people see it as something unorthodox?
I think most of the people here in Germany are not even aware that there's a wrestling scene in Germany. But like the experience I made is when I tell people what I'm doing, they are totally interested and they want to see it. Of course, there are people who say, "Oh, it's all fake and this is not a real sport."
Right.
But most of them are very positive and they say, "Okay, I see. In my eyes, it's still fake, but I see that you put your body into it and that it is kind of dangerous." And yeah, I always try to explain like it's sports entertainment. We are entertainers, but it's also it is sport.
Of course.
So yeah, there are people who think it's fake, but most of them are positive and interested as soon as they are aware of that there is a wrestling scene in Germany.
That's very nice to hear. So, it looks like you have been a longtime fan of wrestling. Were you a fan of wrestling when you were growing up?
Yes.
Okay.
I watched wrestling since I was a little child, and here in Germany it was on TV only late at night. So I sneaked out of my bed and yeah, watched it in the
Did
middle
any
of the night.
did anyone else in your family also, like wrestling and got you into it, or were you like the only person?
Yes, my cousin does actually. We watch it together at my grandma's house so often, and we made my grandma go crazy because we tried the things. Of course, you should not do that, but you know how it is as a child. So yeah, but the rest of my family is not really interested in wrestling. They accept what I'm doing. Parts of it come to my shows. They support me. They like it, but it's not like they're in general wrestling fans.
Right. So, I'm sure your cousin must be so proud of whatever you've done so far.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, what was your family's first reaction, when you decided that, this is it, this is the career I want to pursue, wrestling it is. What was their reaction?
You are crazy.
I can imagine.
That's what their first reaction. Yeah, that's what their first reaction was. So, I don't think they really do understand why I put so much effort in it and why this is what I really want to do. But they accept it. They support me, and yeah.
Right, absolutely. So, how long ago before you actually made your in-ring debut did you start training for, to become a wrestler?
About 2 years.
2 years. Okay. And was it hard, the training?
Yes, yeah, of course, because I never really was a really sportive person before I started wrestling. It came
Okay.
with the wrestling training. I also went to gym and stuff like that. But my body was just not used to things like that. But I, I really loved it and wanted it so much that I started to train regularly and stuff like that. Wrestling training is hard, especially when you take your first bumps and you do the rolls over and over again for hours. It's hard. It still is. but it's worth it.
So you have a great communication skill, and this is something that in America, when you talk about people, international wrestling stars, the one thing that comes to people's mind is that do they have a communication skill? Because it's very important when you talk about cutting promos, mic skills. It's very important, and you have great communication skills. So, what do you think? Like, is cutting promos one of your favorite things in wrestling, or what is it? No?
Not so much. No, I think cutting promos is really hard, especially when you do live promos because you only have that one chance. Yeah, so it's not my favorite part. It's a part of it all. I know it's a very important part, but yeah, really my favorite part is the in-ring part, the wrestling part, where we can put our emotions into it and just transport it to the people. That's what I like most.
Right. By talking to you, I can clearly see the love that you have for wrestling and the sport that takes place inside the ring, which makes me wonder. So, how all of a sudden, how did this idea come to your head that, okay, I'm going to pursue wrestling as a career? How did it happen?
It kind of happened by accident, to be honest, because I always was a huge wrestling fan, especially when I was a child. But when I grew up, I some kind forgot about it, and other things got more important and stuff like that. But someday, I visited a wrestling show here next to my hometown with one of my best friends, and I was so caught by it. I really love to see, but I could not imagine it for myself for at first. And then as a birthday present, I got a weekend seminar.
Right.
And I was thinking about going there or not because I was afraid and I never thought that I could do this. But from the first second I stepped into the ring, I was so stuck with it and I felt so in love with it. And from that second on, I knew this is what I want to do.
That's incredible. It's like destiny. It had to happen, so it had to happen. That's great. When people look at wrestlers, always see the lights, the camera, the action. What many people don't realize is that a life of wrestler is not always very easy, and it's full of challenges. Sometimes it's full of hardships. So can you tell us something about the life of Xara Grace? Before the pandemic, how was your life? How busy was your schedule? Was it just full-time wrestling, or was it still a 9 to 5 job? How was it?
Yeah. From Monday until Friday, I have a 9 to 5 job. I'm working in the office. After my work, I go to gym, and then from Friday until Sunday, most of the time there was something with wrestling on. We have the shows most of the time on Saturday. Wrestling training is on Sunday, so if I have a show on Saturday night, most of the time I was driving back home on Saturday or Sunday morning, join the training on Sunday, and then I try also to go to wrestling training on the week. Like when I don't go to gym, I drive about 2 hours for wrestling training.
Okay.
Not on Sundays, but if I want to train on weekdays. So yeah, my life really, I had my job, but everything around was just wrestling, and still is.
Wait, so you work 9 to 5, and then you go to the gym. You're not going to the gym. You drive 2 hours to train, and then weekends are wrestling. So you're basically you're a hard worker. You're very, very hard worker. You're working all the time. So
Yes.
that's incredible, and that's not something that everybody can do. And it takes a lot of commitment.
Yeah, I think if you really want to do it, you have to do a lot of sacrifices for wrestling. And it's not that I have this every day. Like most of the time I work and then I go to gym, and next day I work, I go to the gym. But if I want to have wrestling training on the week, I try to go home from work earlier to drive 2 hours to go to the training. And the Sunday training is not 2 hours away. It's only about 1 hour. But yes, you have to make a lot of sacrifices if you want to be a wrestler.
I honestly see wrestlers, stars like you, as a superhero. You're like Bruce Wayne during the day and Batman during the night. It's incredible what you do. So, so are you like Peter Parker at your work, or do people know that okay, this is also Xara Grace, the wrestling star?
They don't know.
Don't know? Okay, all right. I was assuming if they knew, your boss would be very scared of you, to have a wrestler work with them. Okay, so
Yeah, I don't know how they would react, but like I don't want to explain myself all the time. That's why I thought
right.
at first it's better to keep it for me. There are one or two people who know what I'm doing because I'm yeah closer to them, but in general, like yeah, they don't know.
So it's basically living like a superhero. You have to hide your superpowers.
Kind of. But I don't know if they see my Instagram or if they see something from me in the newspaper. If they see, they see. So it's fine for me.
It's incredible. Speaking of workplaces, in the USA recently, there was a movement, you might be aware of it. It was called the Speaking Out movement, where female
Yes.
wrestlers were coming out and they were telling the stories of the hardships, the abuses that they face in the industry. So, how does wrestling in Germany compare? Is it any safer than what we see in the UK or the US?
Luckily for myself, yes. But I think there are also things happening. I'm sure of that. And I think every woman has the right to say, yeah, if there is something going wrong, it's good that they say what happened. Because, in my opinion, if there are people abusing others, they have no place in wrestling. So
Yeah.
if that helps to make wrestling a better place, it's really important, yeah, to speak out.
It's very sad because we have gone through such a revolution where women back in the day, they had those gimmick bra and panty matches, and now women are main eventing big shows like WrestleManias and main events, and we still have cases like these. It's really heartbreaking. But what do you think about, 15 years ago when they had such gimmick matches? Were you a fan of them, or if those matches were still around, would you even consider becoming a professional wrestler?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I was never a fan of it, and I don't like it because, of course, it helps if you're looking any kind of good, but it doesn't have to be like bra and panties
Correct.
and like the classic. So, also bigger woman or smaller woman, they all can be beautiful in their own kind of way, and everybody can express something, no matter how they look. So I never was a fan of that kind of matches, and I personally would definitely not do that. But I mean, you cannot oh no, I'm thinking of the word. You cannot judge. You can definitely not judge the women for doing it because
No.
they had no other chance. It was like, if you want to be on TV, you have to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, sad
I
reality.
I do not judge them. I'm very thankful that they paved us the way, but I'm very, very glad that we don't have to do this anymore.
We are too. Yeah. That was some horrible times. But now wrestling is different. Now we have, women, now we have men, we have transgenders and bisexual, everybody on the same stage competing in the same ring. That's the beauty of wrestling now, and I'm proud of it. So we were just talking about wrestling in the USA, and we know that America is one of the central hubs when it comes to wrestling, along with Japan and the UK. So where do you want to go next? And what is the goal that you have in sight at the moment?
My goal in wrestling is to travel around as much as I can, to compete in as many promotions as I can. I am so lucky that, yeah, as I said, I debuted in about October 2018, and since then I wrestled in about, I don't know, 7 or 8 different countries. I was able to wrestle in UK. I was able to wrestle in the US, and I would love to go back there. I want to wrestle as many promotions as I can in Germany, the whole lot of Europe. I'd love to go back to the UK. I'd love to go back to the US, and of course, I would also love to go to Japan. But I just work as hard as I can and see where it takes me.
That is great. In the US, I was going through your Instagram and I saw pictures of you in the US. You were training somewhere in Florida. And can you tell us something about that? Did you also spend some time over there?
Yeah, actually I went over there for holidays, but I try, like when I know I'm going to travel to one country, I try to see if there's any possibility for me either to train or to work a show. And I was lucky that some promoter from the UK helped me to get a contact in the US. It was a Team Vision Dojo, I believe in wrestling. That's what the promotion is called in Orlando. And I was able to work a match there. And the week after, I went to Gangrel's Wrestling Asylum to do some training there.
Right, and how was the there? Did the training centers in the US, are they any different from the ones in Germany?
Gangrel's training was awesome because they have a whole arena with 2 rings in it and 1 stretching area. They have cameras all over so that they can watch the training. It's very, very, very professional. The training school of Alex Wright also used to be like this. We had a whole arena for ourselves with 6 rings in it, but most of the time you train in a kind of school gym where you have to put on the ring and tear it back down again.
So
yes, but really amazing.
Yeah. So how long after you start training do you get to rehearse your entrance? Because if I was a wrestler, I would love to rehearse entrance every single day. That's like one of the most coolest part of being a wrestler. So how long after you start training do you get to do that?
My entrance?
Yes.
Like, it was only just some weeks before my debut.
Really? So that's like the last part.
Yes.
Okay. So I've listened to your entrance music, and it kind of reminds me of a WWE superstar, Beth Phoenix. Is there some relation to it? Is there some relation to it? I was just curious.
I don't know what because normally I don't use the Beth Phoenix entrance. It's the promoter. No, I'm not really happy with that, and it's only one promotion I used to use it because the promoter liked the idea of it. So if the promoter wants me to do it, of course I see, okay, we're gonna do that. But normally I don't. I, of course, do not use the Beth Phoenix entrance for my entrance.
I have if you were like inspired by it or something. Okay, but if you would choose your entrance music or entrance song, what would it be?
I have one, and it's called Expensive.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so I do this thing. I like to do this thing where I'll ask you a few questions. It's going to be a rapid fire round. And since you started, getting into the wrestling business in 2017, about 3 years ago, I'm going to be asking you 3 questions based on the number 3. Okay, so each question will have 3 sub questions. Okay. So question number 1: one wrestler who inspires you.
Again, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so the first question is a wrestler who inspires you.
Yeah, funnily, of course, like Beth Phoenix inspired me because she was awesome. So that's also why the promoter thought it's a good idea.
Okay. A wrestler that you ever had or you have a crush on.
The Miz.
Oh, okay. The Miz is gonna be very happy if he listens to this. Okay. A wrestler that you absolutely hate, your number 1 enemy.
Ooh, hard. I don't know.
Like for
I,
me, I've always hated Randy Orton, but since I was a kid, because he used to beat John Cena all the time. So
yes, but
you don't
no,
hate
I don't
anyone.
have some.
That is good. All right, it's all right not to hate anyone. It's a good thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the second question. What is your dream wrestling match type?
Street fight. I would love to do a street fight.
Really? So,
Yeah.
are you comfortable with like extreme rules matches? Where you get to use weapons and all that stuff.
Yeah, I've never done it, but I would love to do it. Of course, not regularly
Right.
because it's not the kind of wrestling like all the extreme matches. It's not the kind of wrestling, my kind of wrestling, because
Right.
like I'm like more old school stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to do it at least one time.
Very cool. And who is your dream opponent in the ring?
Uh, there are so many women I would love to work.
Okay.
If I have to choose one, it's hard. Maybe Beth Phoenix again.
All right. And a dream championship that you would want to hold in the future.
I mean, I think the ultimate goal of everybody is the WWE Women's Gold. So, yeah.
And I personally feel that it's very well possible. Maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, we'll be seeing you on TV with the title. It's possible. Okay. So the last question that I have in this rapid fire round is: if you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
To stay healthy, for me and for all my friends and my family, not to have to worry about money, never in my life, and to be able to travel many countries to see as much as possible from the world.
Beautiful, beautiful wishes. And when you become a huge wrestling superstars, they're very well possible. So, I said that I'm going to ask you 3 rapid fire questions, but I'm a curious man, so I'm going to ask you one more. Do you consider yourself to be a natural heel or a face?
Heal, definitely heal.
What is it
much
about?
more easier. What?
I saw you making your entrance in one of those matches, and I saw the look on your face, and I was like, she's a natural heel. So what is it about being a heel that you love so much?
I don't know. It's easier to look like more serious than to smile, and I think it's much easier to get heat. For me, it's easier to create heat, to make people hate me than to make them love me.
I honestly think that you're going to have a hard time making people hate you, because even if you're a heel, I think people are going to love you. So, okay. So, would you like to perform as a tag team or a solo performer in the future?
I think both kind of. Yeah, also tag team as a solo are both are great. I think it's some kind of. I would love to be a tag team, but only with a person I can trust to 100%. Because the good thing is, if you're a single wrestler, you only depend on yourself, and if you fuck up or something, it's only yourself, and you're responsible for everything 100%. But if you have a tag team partner and you trust them 100%, it can be awesome, I think, because you can share all the emotions, So we will see.
And talking about somebody that you fully trust, I know that you have a friend, also a professional wrestler, who you give a lot of credit to, and I think her name is Kisa. Can you tell us?
Yes.
Can you tell us something about your friendship and how did it start?
Yeah. We start know she trained 1 year longer than me, I think. But we met in training, and we went through so many events together, and also we did so many trainings together that we just grew close.
Okay. And you have a special bond right now. Yeah. Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool. You know, earlier in the interview, I said that there have not been many big wrestling superstars, especially women, from Germany. But I do believe, after talking to you, that you could actually be the next big star. I mean, you're incredible. You've got the talent, you've got the charisma, you've got the in-ring skills and the looks. You know, and also the mic skills. I wish you the very best, Laura.
We had some women who made it, like it's Jessie Gabbard, alpha
Right.
female.
Right.
We have like Wesna, Blue Nikita, and also Melanie Gray, who are bigger. So we had some female wrestlers who are luckily paved the way for all the new girls who are coming, and I'm so thankful for that. But yeah, I will see you where you text me.
Maybe we're gonna
Thank you
see
for
the
your work.
first. Maybe we're gonna see the first WWE champion in here, the first WWE champion from Germany. Yeah, very possible. So I have one last question for you. Do you have any message for the inspiring wrestlers who are listening to the podcast right now?
Yeah, never stop working hard. That's the only thing that can take you somewhere. And don't give up, because I think we all had some point where we were questioning ourselves. We're questioning, is it really, really worth it? But yes, it is. And yeah, just never stop working hard and do not give up.
Beautiful. Xara, you know, I said that will be the last question, but I'm a curious guy, so I'm going to ask you one more question. So when I was preparing for the interview and I was going through, you know, your profile, I saw that, you know, you were born on the 1st of January. And so you're like you're like a New Year's baby, and you get to celebrate 2 big occasions on one single day. How does that feel?
It's like, I don't know anything else. For me, it's normal, because it's like my whole life I celebrate birthday on the 1st of January. I think it's not so cool to be born in the winter month, and it's not so cool. I mean, we have, you know, we celebrate Christmas in Germany, and we celebrate at end of December. It's Christmas time, of course.
Wow.
And so if your birthday is shortly before or shortly after Christmas, it's like, eh. But within all those days, I think January 1st is the best day you can be born on, because it's a holiday and you can celebrate all the time.
Very cool. I love the winters. My birthday is also in January, and I love it because I can go ice skating on my birthday. So,
yeah.
All right, Xara, it was such a pleasure talking to you. And you know, honestly, we cannot see you shine so bright in the wrestling industry in the future. And I hope you the best during this pandemic. I know that wrestling is off right now, but do you know when is wrestling gonna start soon in your country? Is it gonna be anytime soon?
I'm not sure when there will be live shows again with a crowd, but I know that some promotions in Germany will do tapings with a small crowd, and I think in about September, October maybe, it will be able to do some shows again with a smaller crowd, but we will see.
Okay, all right. Well, we wish you the best, and we're going to be following your career very closely on Wrasslinews, and we're going to be keeping our fans updated with everything that you do in wrestling. And for the fans who are listening right now, you can follow Xara at Xara Grace on Instagram, Twitter, as well as on Facebook. Xara, thank you so much, and we honestly can't wait to have you.
Thank you for having me. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
And this brings us to the end of episode 3, featuring the ever so graceful Xara Grace. If you liked the episode, don't forget to share it with your friends and family, and we will be back next Tuesday and every Tuesday after next Tuesday with wrestling stories from more wrestling superstars from all across the globe. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.